this is Zania. I'm reporting to you live from Wanda's Creative Play in our studio. So bright, so colorful. I know things may be really crazy right now. You may be feeling confused, bored, just generally not knowing what to do with yourself. But that's what I'm here for. Okay, we're gonna make some really cool art today. Lots of really fun and bright colors to use, lots of really cool techniques that maybe you haven't done before, and that's the best part, you know, really challenging yourself to do things that you haven't done before, especially in times like this. So for today, I wanted to show you guys how to make this super cool tree. I really like this project, mainly because, you know, it makes me think of spring. It makes me think of how all of the leaves are coming back and growing and, you know, forming their own colors, and, you know, how beautiful trees are and how exquisite all their branches can be. And really, this project is about you exploring how your relationship is with color and wherever you want to put that. So we are going to gather some supplies that you would need. So for the trunk, you're going to need some brown paint. And that is pretty much the main color you'll be using for that. Our background, there isn't one on my sample, but if you really want to brighten things up, you can use a really nice light blue, and that will really make your colors pop and really bring the painting together all together. You also need some really cool buttons. My buttons that I have here today have a little bit of an adhesive at the back that helps them to stick on without glue, but you may not have that at home. So if you do need something like that and you know you have buttons, you can use some glue to stick on the other side of the buttons to put it on the page. It's really important for this project that we make sure that we let everything dry in a good time, especially with our paint, so that our buttons and our paint don't start mixing together. We want everything to be dry and everything to look really cool and clean. So if you guys want to gather your supplies, we'll meet right back here and we can get started. Welcome back. Hope you've gathered all your supplies for now. You're going to need your paint, you're going to need your paint brushes, some buttons of any color, also your palette for to hold your paint. If you don't have a palette at home, feel free to use a styrofoam plate, cardboard, whatever you can find that will hold all that paint that you're going to need. And always make sure you have a napkin on hand so that you can always get rid of any excess water that you might have on your brush, because you also need to have your water with you. So we're gonna start with our background. I'm gonna take some light blue. You don't need too much paint for your background, mainly because I like to mix my blue, oh, you might have to shake that up a little bit. I like to mix a little bit of the paint with the water. It kind of makes a really nice balance of just texture and the consistency of the paint. You don't want to go in there too thick, but you don't want to have it too watery either. Good mixture of the two. So once you have that, you want to start doing vertical motions up and down on your page. Also remember, if you don't, be aware where you're working and have something underneath. Where I am, I'm in the studio, so I can go crazy with this, but make sure you are wearing protective gear. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and move my way up. So I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just going to use the brush on both sides, back and forth. So as you can see, it's not perfect of a line. It's not all the way at the edge, but I do want to make sure that I am covering all of the white spots that I may see. And you know, you don't have to be perfect with this. You can add the blue in any way you want. If you want it to be a little blotchy and a little bit abstract, you can put more paint in other areas and really focus that blue in the middle of your page, because that is where your tree is going to be, and we definitely want our tree to be standing out. Don't be afraid to really use the brush, right? We don't want to make little movements like this. We want to use every single part of it. When you use both sides like this, you're using all of the paint that you have squeezed out, and it's covering as much area as it can on your page. Okay? Back and forth. And you know, you don't have to paint, you don't have to get all your paint out at once. Really just start with the little amount that you would need, and you can always refill because you have all your supplies with you. So I just grabbing a little bit more paint, just one dip in the water, mixing that up a little bit, and right back on our page here. So I see mine here. I'm kind of liking how it looks. It's a little bit abstract, a little bit weird, but I like that blue. I'm gonna let that dry and we're gonna come right back for the next step. Okay guys, welcome back. So first thing, we always want to make sure we're washing our brush. If we do not wash our brush, they get dry and we can't use them again. So wipe off any excess paint you may have on there into your palette or in your napkin, whatever you can use. You want to go into your water, just swish it back and forth, get all that water out of there, that paint. Just drag it along the sides and you can dry that off. And because we are done with our background, we will not be using this big brush anymore. We are going to start now with our trunk. And our trunk is this brown color, very, very nice. And I like to split this, making this tree up into at least a couple parts, just because of there are different sizes of branches. You know, you may want them to go in any way you want. They kind of go all over the place, but we will be starting with the base. So I'm gonna grab my paintbrush. This is a medium size. For this one, I want my paint for my trunk to be very, very thick. So I'm not gonna use as much water. I'm just gonna dip my brush in there one time, swirl it around in my paint, and I'm gonna pick the middle, use my finger, find the middle of the top, bottom of my page, and I'm gonna start making lines going towards the top. So when you do find that one spot you like, remember that tree trunks are very, very big at their bases. So don't be afraid to make lots of little brush marks like this and get that really big, thick trunk that you would really like. So once we get that shape, and remember, no trunks are perfect. If you can see here, I got some squiggles. I have some lines that may not look perfect, and that's okay. Each tree is different. Everyone's artwork is different. Once I have a big enough trunk that I am satisfied with, I want to start thinking about my branches. So this is my base, and I'm going to choose about 4 different big branches that will help us continue with our smaller ones. So I'm going to start at the top of this trunk that I've drawn. I'm going to start and go right. That's just one big trunk. So as you can see here, I'm just making it a little bit bigger. This is our first starter trunk. Branch. Doesn't have to be perfect again. Doesn't have to be a straight line. If actually, I'd actually prefer if it wasn't a straight line, because the wonkier, the better. Here's my second line. This one I'll say will go more in the upward direction. Let's say my third one comes out to the left. Okay. And let's do my fourth one here. Maybe I want this one to have a little bit of a bend. That can be awesome as well. Okay? And you don't just have to do 4. You could do one more. Let's do one more. One more branch, just for fun. All right? And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I want to see your trunks, and we'll be right back. Hi there, welcome back. Again, first thing we do, once we are done with one paintbrush, we always wash it. So get that right in the water, swish it around, get all that paint off there, wipe it off, grab your napkin, just dry off any excess paint or water. We can set that to the side. Now the last part of our branches, I need a smaller brush, because that will help me get all those little details out and really get those smaller branches in between all the big ones there. So I'm gonna grab my small brush, dip it in some paint, maybe get a little bit of water as well, mix that up. And let's start with our branch over here. So I'm gonna start always somewhere in the middle of the branch. You don't want it to be uniform or perfect or anything like that, but you always start inside the branch and work your way out. And as you can see, when I make one brush stroke like that, sometimes the paint starts to thin. So if you find yourself experiencing that, just grab a little bit more paint and go over that same line again, okay? So that's one branch there. Let's add some more to these other ones. And don't be afraid to make these ones curly too as well, right? These are really, if you think about real trees, there's obviously a lot more branches on there, but you know, branches stem out from other branches. and everything kind of meets back into one area, which is really cool. So when you are thinking about placing these branches, think about, you know, how abstract you can really make it. We're not making straight lines, we're not making perfect lines, we're trying to embody nature here, okay? And the more branches you add, the more full your tree will look. And as I said again, make sure you are starting to draw these branches from inside one of the previous ones you have done, just because it really helps to blend that out and seems very seamless when you do look at it afterwards. So we're just adding all those little branches. Don't add too many. Let's say I'll add one more. There we go. That is about around the time, amount of branches you would want. Let that dry and we'll come right back for the last step of our beautiful tree painting. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are going to move on to the very last step. So now your branches should be completely dry, as well as your background, and you're gonna grab some buttons. Now, you may be wondering, you know, I don't have the same buttons that I have, or, you know, where am I gonna find some? You know, you always get shirts with like one extra button in the package, you know, why not use that? Grandma's not using her sewing machine, her sewing kit, look into that. But as I said before, my buttons are specifically different because they have a little bit of a glue adhesive at the back that helps them to stick on without any glue. But you may not have that. So if you do have buttons that don't have an adhesive, grab some of your glue, okay? Put some into your palette or on your page. Let's see, I think we could do it that way. So I'll pick a spot right about here. Just one drop of glue. I'm gonna put my button right on top of that. And it's really important, if you can feel it, it does wiggle around a little bit, so you wanna make sure you're not touching that and you let that dry completely. So I will be using my buttons that do have the adhesive, and this is the best part. I think this is my favorite part of this drawing, is that you can just put any color, any button, anywhere you want. And that's why it was so important to add as many branches as we did. Make sure they were all different sizes, going in different directions, so that it's really, really cool and refreshing when you do put those buttons on and you somehow find a place that they were meant to be, and they look so good where they are. And that is all from your color, all from your direction, your brush making movements, all that good stuff. And you know, this tree for me really emulates the change of spring. And you know, all of our leaves are coming back and they're getting their colors again. There's color again in you know, our world, and the sun is coming out. So this painting is very bright and very, very spring related. And really have fun with wherever you put these buttons. As you can see, I'm not concerned about color. I've got some orange, I've got some yellow, I'm bringing some white in there, maybe some red, green, whatever pops out at you. And again, you don't have to do this exactly like this. Let's say all the buttons you have are dark blue. Make a dark blue tree, you know, really doesn't matter. Anything that you like, anything that you think is how you want it to be. It's really about your individual creative expression and how you really want to add that and really make something yours that you can call your own. Okay, so once you have all of those lovely colors on there, you just want to take your little paintbrush. I'm going to use some pink because I love pink. It's really important, any painting that you do ever, always put your name on it and always put the date so that you know that this is your painting and you know when you made it. So you can always look back. And we'll put a little 20 for 2020. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun. You know, I really appreciate this time that we have now, as weird as it may be. This is the time to explore new creations that you may want to do. Any new ideas, explore with new materials you haven't used, and we will be doing all of that here on this channel. We also have different things. Let's say you don't just want to paint. Maybe you want to do some clay. We offer these wonderful Wannabe Wanda kits that you can take home. Has all the clay and instructions you need to make a beautiful clay sculpture when you get home. And, you know, put that anywhere in your house. Decorate it. Thank you so much. Have a great one. I will see you soon.